Hello, 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 and welcome to Nursing News You Can Use at 5. I'm Tina Baxter, your host. Thanks for tuning in this week. We have some exciting things to talk about and some events coming up and things that are going to be a part of for the month of March that we want to share with you. But first off, let's get with our affirmation for today from the You Are a Badass calendar. I love this. And it says, if you want to attract good things and feelings into your life, send awesomeness out to everyone around you. I'm going to say that again because I think we all need it right now. If you want to attract good things and feelings into your life, send awesomeness out to everyone around you. This is from the You Are a Badass calendar by Jen Sincero for 2025. And I have to say, I agree with that because there's so much negativity that's going on in the world right now. And I really want to put out more positivity. I know there's bad things that are happening. I know that they're, and I reported them because you're going to hear about some of them. So I know, I'm aware. But I also want to include the positive things that are happening. And the world isn't just dark all the time. And I think we fall prey to that. We fall into that trap of thinking everything is all dark and everything is terrible. And that's not true. There are so many good people in the world and there's so much good. In fact, I just talked to a nurse that's doing some awesome things, and she's going to come on our other show, the Nurse Shark Academy show, and talk about what she's doing. So be prepared for that interview that'll be coming out in a few months. But we just had another awesome interview with a great nurse that just went out this coming Monday. And I say again, you could do some positivity and introduce that into your life. Why do we always focus on that which is negative? Let's share some awesomeness today. So that's my encouragement to you. Let's all be awesome together. All right, let's get into the news. So our first story is coming out of Rochester in Detroit, and it says Henry Ford Rochester nurses protest over working conditions stalled bargaining talks. This was published on February 28th. And so here we go from Fox 2. A group of nurses at Henry Ford Rochester Hospital picketed Friday over what they believe are unfair labor practices, stalled bargaining, and deteriorating working conditions. So the nurses say that it's affecting the quality of care they can offer while waiting more than 2 years trying to have their issues addressed. So in that span, they say that more than a dozen unfair labor practice complaints have been filed without satisfactory response. Dina Carlisle, OPEIU Local 40, and representative said, it's about safe patient care. It's about the ability of the nurse to take good care of their patients. That's why part of this group of nurses was out in front of Henry Ford Rochester Hospital marching in protest. Inside the hospital, their union, OPEIU Local 40, says nurse-to-patient ratios have been dangerous at times. Since Henry Ford is taking over, there are times that the nurses have 8 to 12 patients apiece. That's not right, and it's not safe. I spoke to nurses on the floor this morning who said they are concerned. Does something bad have to happen for the hospital to do something about it? Said Danielle Drolyard from the union as well. Fair pay and benefits are also issues, they say, claiming the hospital system hasn't been dealing with them in good faith since their deal expired in the fall of 2022. So they've actually been working without an adequate contract for 3 years. Ooh. They remain understaffed, overworked, and underpaid, said Scott Brooks, attorney for the union. We know that they have the money, Drolyard said. We flipped the question on them. Why are you punishing our nurses here in Rochester when all we want is the safe staffing to care for our community? Henry Ford issued a statement. It says, here it is. Throughout our 110-year history, ensuring patient and team member safety has always been our top priority. We are both proud and grateful to our nurses at Henry Ford Rochester Hospital who give their all to our patients and community every day. We are steadfast in our commitment to a culture that values their unique professional expertise, and we look forward to solidifying a contract with their union soon. The union also says at least 8 times they have suggested a staffing matrix based on professional nursing standards, But so far, no response. So we'll keep an eye on what's happening with that story and update you as we learn more. This was another story that continues our segments on violence in healthcare. And I found this quite interesting. And this is coming from, it says the conversation. It says how the hidden epidemic of violence against nurses affects healthcare. Okay. Violence is just part of the job. Every nurse and healthcare worker experiences it at some point. Sentiments like this echo across American hospitals and healthcare facilities, capturing a disturbing and growing reality. Though Americans think of nursing as the most trusted profession, as we've been cited before, we often fail to see that it's also one of the most dangerous. An alarming 8 in 10 nurses face violence at work. As a result, healthcare workers are more than 4 times as likely to be injured in the workplace, injured by workplace violence than workers in all other industries combined. I want to say that again because I think that's important for us to hear. And for those of you that are not in healthcare, you need to understand 8 in 10 nurses face violence at work. That means that healthcare workers are 4 times as likely to be injured by workplace violence than workers in all other industries combined. This is from Yahoo News. This should shock you. Those of us in the field does not shock us, but those of you that are not, it should shock you. It says, despite these staggering numbers, the full extent of this epidemic may not be fully understood because nurses and other healthcare workers chronically underreport violent encounters. The American Nurses Association estimates that only 20 to 60% of incidents are accounted for. Additionally, there is no agreed upon definition for workplace violence or clear way of tracking it on a national level. So when people think about workplace violence, they often imagine dramatic physical assaults. Assaults do happen, as in the case of the poor nurse that gets savagely beaten, and I'm going to say it again, savagely beaten. And if she survives, she may be permanently blind for the rest of her life. Assaults do happen, but violence directed at workers can take many other forms, including verbal threats, intimidation, sexual aggression, and bullying. And I've experienced all of those, including physical violence and assaults. I've experienced that as a nurse. What makes defining and measuring workplace violence especially difficult in healthcare is the range of people involved. Violence may stem from others that you know. Nurses and healthcare staff work with people during incredibly stressful moments in their lives. Some patients are experiencing medical conditions that may cause them to act out or be confused, such as dementia, delirium, psychosis, or even post-operative reactions to anesthesia. Some healthcare organizations use vague definitions, such as workplace violence is any act or threat of violence, while nursing organizations advocate for tiered definitions delineating between perpetrator and intent. Although not all employees can recite their organization's official definition of workplace violence, ask a nurse whether they have ever experienced a threatening situation at work, and they will likely have stories at the ready. In my 14 years of nursing practice, nurses shared many different types of threatening encounters. They reported being screamed at by distraught visitors and having their hair and wrists grabbed by patients who were trying to bite or spit at them. Yep, experienced all of those things. I have personally experienced having objects thrown at me, yep, from across the room and being threatened with retribution by patients' family members. Yep. Nurses also shared more extreme experiences in which they or their coworkers were injured in the course of trying to simply deliver care. Many describe the emotional impact of watching a coworker hurt badly enough to require medical attention. I remember when I was assaulted on the job working in the nurse, not at the nursing home, but in the psychiatric unit. And it was basically, we'll go down to the ER, get treated, come back up to work. And in being a brand new news, my expectation was to go down there, get in and out really quickly. And it was 2 hours before I was even evaluated. And I got punched in the face and got punched in the eye. And I say that to say, at that time, it was just sort of like, oh, well, it's a normal day. Just go on down and deal with it. Come back up and get back to work as soon as you can. That's just kind of how I felt. So, according to this article, it says, from my observations from the nurses writing this article, it's not just the major incidents, but the countless small threats or insensitive behaviors that add up over a nurse's career. I know what kind of car you drive. These seemingly less threatening events are much harder to document, and many nurses shrug them off, but the small infractions take a toll when they happen repeatedly. A culture of silence makes such incidents hard to track. The medical surgical nursing unit at the hospital where I conducted my research has a healthy and supportive culture. Yet, in my ongoing doctoral work, which will be published in May, of the 74% of staff that acknowledged experiencing workplace violence in the past year, only 30% reported the event. When nurses stay silent, whether from fear, futility, or institutional pressure, violence becomes an accepted part of the job. Without accurate data, healthcare facilities don't understand the true extent of the problem, can't implement effective safety measures, and struggle to support their workers in meaningful ways. There are common themes as to why nurses underreport violence. Some nurses think reporting does not make a difference. Others find the lack of clarity in defining workplace violence or reporting policies demotivating and confusing. Nurses also report a lack of support from management, fear of reprisal, or sense of shame when reporting. Commonly, many nurses simply find reporting tools to be too difficult and time consuming to use. For healthcare workers, the consequences extend far beyond physical injuries, including a job dissatisfaction. Dangerous workplace violence trends contribute as a contributing factor in 55% of healthcare workers feeling burned out and 18% of newly licensed registered nurses leaving the profession within the first year. That is a huge problem considering that the United States is projected to have 193,100 nursing job openings per year until 2032, yet will produce only roughly about 177,400 new nurses in that time frame. Also has vast repercussions for patient care. During my nursing career, and this is again from the author, during my nursing career, I observed my peers developing complex strategies to protect themselves while trying to provide compassionate care. Like me, they tended to carefully position themselves near doorways, maintain constant awareness of their surroundings, and silently assess each new interaction for potential risk. And I just had this conversation with the nurse I was talking to earlier today about this very thing, when I walk into the room, I'm immediately assessing not just the patient, but their family members, anybody that's in there for potential threats. And I am constantly scanning my environment. And again, I work in psychiatry, so I make sure that my desk is positioned so that I can get out the door. I do not put myself into a corner. I am very aware of what's on my desk and what I can do to protect myself. I'm very aware of all those things. And we talked about those safety measures that we have. And I was explaining to her, my husband was in the ER yesterday, and I had to go in to see him. And I was encouraged because they finally moved the metal detector closer to the door. So you had to go through the medical detector. And the security officer wanted to look at my purse and make sure I didn't have any weapons and asked me, did I have any weapons on me? I'm encouraged by that. I was like, yes, look, no, I don't have any weapons. But I was excited that they were doing at least a bare minimum of safety checks. But that's through the emergency room. What about the other entrances to the hospital? The main door, the side door that you can get to the hospital from the outpatient clinic. Those are questions that I have. And so again, when I talk about these things, it's because I want us to be aware, not just as nurses and how to take care of ourselves, but also those of you that are in leadership, how can you best protect your staff? So let's go on with the article. It says, these invisible precautions reflect the far-reaching effects of healthcare violence. When nurses are hyper-vigilant about their safety, they have less emotional energy for patient care. When they're rushing between rooms due to short staffing caused by violence-related turnover, they have less time for each patient. When they're worried about what the next patient encounter may bring, they are increasing their anxiety, fear, and stress rather than focusing on delivering quality care. Each healthcare visit is a chance for patients and their families to improve the nursing care for everyone. When you visit a hospital or clinic, try to understand that the stress that healthcare workers are under and express your needs and concerns calmly. You never know what your nurse is dealing with in their interactions with other patients. They try to compartmentalize and give you their full attention, but they may also be experiencing a difficult and traumatic situation right next door. And of course, you're also being very aware of the safety of your colleagues as well. And I want to point that out because I, when you hear raised voices in the hallway, you stop listening to what your patient's telling you because you're making sure that no one else is unsafe. Or you hit that panic button, then I'm interrupting your session to go and attend to make sure no one's getting injured or nothing's happening there where we need to get police involved. So again, there's reasons for some of that. And I think a lot of times if you're not in healthcare and you're on the other side and you're the patient, you need to understand these things so that one, you have a better patient experience, but you also help foster a system that can help others have a better patient experience. So it also helps to share information that might be relevant to caring for your family member, such as whether their medical condition is causing them to act differently than normal. And you should speak up if you witness any forms of aggressive behavior. These actions might seem small, but they support healthcare staff and help prevent violence in the healthcare settings. Nurses are trained to keep information private, to be problem solvers, and to bear the burden of the job, so they don't always seek support. If you have a nurse or healthcare worker in your family or circle of friends, let them know you care. Supporting their safety validates their work and leads to better care for everyone. So this was written by Jason Bloomquist, who's affiliated with American Nurses Association, Idaho chapter. A member of the board of directors. The article has not been influenced or overlapped with the work described in here. I just want to share that. But I want to share his name because he wrote this article and he's doing this important work. And I think it's important to assign credit to where credit is due. So thank you for that and doing the work in this article. But it's funny. I just was having this conversation with someone today. And this brings us to this story. And I'm going to continue to bring these stories because you need to hear them. This is a story of violence against healthcare workers. Nursing home resident accused of throwing hot coffee in the nurse's face. I do believe this story came from nurse.org. Okay. Possibly. Oh, no, this is from KFVS. Okay. This is out of Missouri. So a nursing home resident is facing an assault charge in connection with an incident Friday morning, February 28th in Caruthersville. According to Caruthersville police, officers were called to Southgate Living Center for a report that a resident had thrown hot coffee in a nurse's face, caused damage to items in the nurse's station, and verbally assaulted staff members. First of all, kudos to the staff for calling the police in these incidents. We need to get these things documented and part of the public record because, again, a lot of these things aren't reported, and that perpetuates the cycle, and then people think they can just do whatever. So we need to make sure that we are reporting these things. So after arriving, police said officers arrested Sharon Guyout for assault in the second degree. Guyout is being held at the Penobscot County Justice Center on a no bond warrant. Wow. Can I just say, I'm glad they reported this. Because people think that because I have an illness or because I have whatever, I'm not responsible for my behavior. And it's time that we change that. So I am all for that. Like, kudos to them for that. Okay. We'll take our next story and then we'll head for a break. This is from Skilled Nursing News. And this is another interesting thing about long-term care. I like to bring up some, long-term care is my background. I love to bring out stories like this because I need for us to understand what's happening in real time in the world of nursing, and everything like this affects us in nursing. So this is nursing home room costs increased by 7 to 9% as all long-term care costs rise. The cost of a room in a nursing home rose between 2023 and 2024, with semi-private rooms See that 7% increase to $111,325, and private rooms a 9% jump in cost to $127,750. Now, can I just say, most of the people who reside in long term care are being paid by Medicaid. So I'm going to ask this question of you: what happens when Medicaid gets cut and the prices are going higher? That means there are going to be less beds available, even more now, for individuals who need them. And as one news commentator said, we're no longer in the business of healthcare. We're in the business of wealth care. And those who have the money can get the care that they need. And those who don't, you may be out of luck. So it says these cost of care increases for the sector fall somewhere in the middle compared to other long-term care settings, according to a survey released by Genworth Financial and Care Scout. There were no long-term care settings that decreased in cost, the survey results showed. Well, obviously. Monthly median costs for semi-private and private nursing home rooms on a national level were $9,277 and $10,646, respectively. So I want to know who has $9,000 sitting around to pay in rent every month. Basically what it is. Now, granted, you get your meals and everything is all inclusive for the most part. But I was saying, what older adult who are often on fixed income, depending on Medicare and Medicaid, how are they going to pay this cost? There's no way. Broken down by state, Alaska, Oregon, and Hawaii have the most expensive annual cost for a semi-private room at $364,000 and change, $189,000 and change, and $181,000 and change, respectively. For private rooms, Alaska, Oregon, and Washington, D.C. were the most expensive. Texas, Missouri, and Oklahoma had the lowest cost for semi-private rooms at $65,000 and change, $76,000 and change, and $77,000 and change. These states also had the lowest private room costs. In other settings, costs for homemaker services, which include tasks such as cooking, cleaning, and running errands, and assisted living, increased the most at 10%, outpacing inflation and costs in other care settings. Meanwhile, the cost of home health aides increased by 3%, and adult daycare increased by 5%. Survey participants said cost drivers were inflation, notably among nursing homes, assisted living communities, and adult daycare centers, while home care services said labor costs were a top contributing factor to cost increases. As we built the Care Scout Quality Network, we spoke with hundreds of care providers who shared that inflation and labor costs continue to drive rate increases. If you couple these economic factors with the growing demand for long-term care services, as the baby boomer generation ages, families are challenged to find high-quality long-term care at an affordable price. And it's already going to get strained and get worse. This is according to Samir Shah, the president and CEO of Care Scout Services. So if you want to hear more about this and read more, head on over to Long-Term Care News. Or Skilled Nursing News, and you can find out more about this information. But I encourage you to do so. That was very interesting. So let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come right back. Professional Services Health Education. We offer BLS, CPR, and first aid training, basic TB validation skills lab, home health aid and CNA training courses, customized staff development, including dementia care, fall prevention strategies, mastering communication skills, legal and ethical boundaries, clinical documentation, and more. For more information, call 765-387-8046 or check out our website at baxterprofessionalserviceshealtheducation.com. All right, let's get to our next story here. And by the way, if you're listening, go ahead and leave us a comment. I would love to share your comments with the group, and then let me know if you have any questions, and I certainly will want to be able to entertain such questions from the audience. All right, so let's get back into it. Okay, it says Oregon House passes bill to restrict nurses' title to humans, not AI. I am so glad of that. I was surprised that this was even a thing. but I guess it is. So, and the Oregon House of Representatives passed House Bill 2748 that reserved that the title of nurse was reserved exclusively for human practitioners, excluding artificial intelligence systems and operations. So Representative Travis Nelson, who introduced the bill, emphasized the importance of maintaining the profession. As a registered nurse, I understand the dedication and expertise required and to protect patients and maintain the trust inherent in our profession, especially as AI continues to grow. So I think that's great. The legislation also addresses the concern that AI programs labeled as nurse could mislead patients. So I'm excited about that. If you want to hear more about that, head on over to KTU and what's happening in Oregon. But I thought this was great. And I never would have even thought of that as being an issue. So I'm glad that we have nurses that are in their state House of Representatives and places like that to advocate for us and are actually working as politicians. And so it's great to see nurses that are in those areas. Okay. Here's another story that I was a little hesitant to share. It was from nurse.org, but then I thought about it. And the more I am on social media and doing things like that and creating content in my own business and all those different things, I wanted to share this because was taking a pause because this is a concern that I have too sometimes. But it's not a big of a concern at the moment. But I just found this interesting. So this is from nurse.org, and it says reality TV star Sierra Miller reveals why she's stepping back from nursing. It says before she became a fan favorite on Summer House, which I have to admit I have not seen it. I have no idea. Sierra Miller was a full-time nurse in Atlanta, Georgia. When she relocated to New York City, she adjusted her schedule to maintain her nursing license while exploring new opportunities. Now in 2025, Sierra is taking an even bigger step back from the profession. During an exclusive interview with The Daily Dish in February of this year, Sierra opened up about her current relationship with nursing. She said, I was PRN all last year, referring to her status, pro rata or as needed nurse. This year, I think I'm taking a step back again because nursing we have a love-hate relationship. It's a lot. Totally understand that. Before Summer House, Sierra was a traveling ICU nurse in Georgia, and she worked through the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. She joined the Bravo reality series in season 5, allowing her to step back from the demands of bedside care and experience life at a different pace in the Hamptons. In 2024, she explained on the Something Went Wrong with Vinny podcast that she worked 3 shifts every 6 to 8 weeks to keep her license active while balancing other pursuits. Despite transitioning into modeling and content creation, Sierra has been candid about the challenges of leaving nursing behind. You're doing 3-month or 18-week assignments. It's chill, she said to the Daily Dish about travel nursing. Though she enjoys her time away from the hospital, she admitted it's difficult to walk away completely. I can't detach myself from nursing right now. What am I going to do that feels as fulfilling as critical care? What's on the other side? And I get it. Like we said, once a nurse, always a nurse. We don't let you go until your shift is ended or your watch is ended, right? So I get that. I totally get what she's going through. Sierra has also spoken about the challenges of being recognized as a reality star while working in the ICU. During an interview on the It's Me Tinks podcast, Sierra shared that she dislikes when patients or their families recognize her in the ICU. She doesn't want to distract them from critical situations or solemn moments. She recounted an instance when she responded to a beeping IV pump in a patient's room. The patient's daughter, in tears over her mother's condition, recognized her. It was only a short interaction. The daughter gasped and said she knew Sierra while she attended to the IV pump and asked if they needed anything. The daughter said no, and she left the room. I just even hate that, Sierra remarked. I never want to take away or be a distraction as to what's going on in the unit. Despite her growing fame, Sierra said her coworkers have always been supportive, as they've known her since she was a new nursing school grad, which is awesome. I think that's great. I'm glad. Beyond her time on Summer House, Sierra has continued expanding her entertainment career. She recently appeared as a contestant on the Traitors Season 3. I don't even know what that is. And has grown her presence as a model and content creator. So if you guys know these shows, let me know. Because I don't know these shows. I'm going to be honest with you. I've not actually watched any of it, but I do know what she's saying because I had an incident where one of my clients decided to reach out to me on social media, which is a no no. So I just didn't address it, didn't acknowledge it, just blocked them. Well, a few months later, into one of his sessions, it started to play into some of his psychosis. And he was mumbling about the social media platform and how, good and bad. And because he must have realized that I blocked him because he could no longer find my content. And so that's a concern that I have, and again, I don't want anybody to use that as part, somehow get it twisted their illness or the things that I'm doing. But I also know that I can't stop what I'm doing as far as my calling and sharing and shedding a light on nursing and what nurses can do. Because again, just like it's hard for her to leave her profession. It's hard for me to leave my profession too. I understand it. And I don't want to leave my profession. And so I always tell people you could do nursing, but just do it a different way. And so I appreciate this article. And again, I'm not to her level of fame. I'm not comparing myself in that way in her level of fame. Not at all. But I do understand when you're in the limelight and you're in the spotlight a little bit, that can draw some people around you that sometimes may not end up in a positive experience. And I never want anything that I do on my other platforms to affect the clinical practice of where I work. And this was just a little small incident of this happening. And so I'm very cognizant and careful even about speaking about some of the other things that I do, even to coworkers because of that. I just don't want that to interfere with anything that I have to do when I am in my professional practice because I am there to take care of those patients. That's my main focus when I am there, not this. But that also gives me that insight to when I bring in stories like this and talking about the article that we just read and the research about the violence in healthcare, I can appreciate it because I am there with you on the front lines a lot of times. So that's my 2 cents. But I wanted to share that because that is a discussion because there's a few content creators that I do follow, and I wonder if people recognize them from their social media when they go into work, and how do they handle that? So if you're in that position and you're watching this show, hey, let me know. Put it in the comments and share with us how you handle that if you were to get recognized by someone who recognized you from your social media, because I do wonder how some of these nurses that do other things like not to call anybody out, but Nurse John and Nurse Blake, and do they ever continue to work? And then how do you handle that if someone recognizes you at work from your content on TikTok or other platforms or whatever you're on, right? So that's what I was just curious about. So if you have any insights, let me know because I'm willing to share them. Okay, let's get to our next story real quick. And it says school nurses can see the warning signs of youth mental health issues. That's coming out from Charlottesville, Virginia. And I thought this was kind of interesting, WVIR. And it says mental health challenges among students are becoming more visible in schools, and often it's the school nurses who notice the first signs. However, with limited staffing, many students may be slipping through the cracks. For many students, a school nurse is more than someone who hands out ice packs and bandages. They're the first line of defense for mental health. As nurses, we are concerned about prevention and early intervention, said UVA Master of Science in Nursing and registered nurse Sherry Goyer. Mental health challenges, let's see. Here we go. She says 29% of the students experience poor mental health. Those figures are from the CDC. The school nurses are critical in helping with that early intervention and being able to connect students and families to needed resources. Gillier is an RN and has spent years working in schools. She says sometimes one symptom, something as simple as a recurring stomach ache, can be a clue to a bigger issue, which is often true. What's going on with the stomach ache? Is it you're being bullied in class and you want to avoid your bully? Is it something going on at home? Are you having a physical health condition that needs warranted more information, or are you feeling depressed and this is how you express your depression? So there's a lot of different things that could be at play there. She says the hallmark of a sign of depression or that something is going on and we need to explore that further. Sometimes those words can be overused too, and I think the conversation and relationships are important. Goodyear says that when the issues go unnoticed, the impact can be serious. But if people are able to catch it early, the psychiatric illness can be treatable. That's why Goodyear supports the One School, One Nurse Act, a proposed bill that would require every school to have at least one registered nurse on staff. I think that makes sense. And then pay them what they're worth because, school systems are notoriously bad at paying. But pay them what they're worth. Just when a school had a school nurse, teachers can focus on teaching, school administrative assistants are pulled to make medical decisions, parents don't have to take off work. Um, Albemarle County Public Schools train nurses to recognize signs, warning signs through a three-tiered system such as student support, parental involvement, and community resources. Miles Nelson is Albemarle's mental health and wellness coordinator. Says we have trauma-informed practices within our schools, so we can build in that trusted adult as a preventative factor. So I just want to say I support having more school nurses because they do a vital role, and it's more than ice packs and bandages and giving out other things. I really think that they need to be there and not just one nurse for 4 or 5 different schools. How's she going to cover all of that? So it's really hard and to be present. And so I agree with them. We need to support our nursing schools and our school nurses. So my last 3 articles have to do with schools of nursing. And I want to mention all of them as nurses making a difference because these schools of nursing are making a difference. And so I'm very excited to share this information with you right after our last break. Nurses, are you burnt out, frustrated, looking for something new? Are you looking for more? Nurses, are you ready to feel the sun? You will dream big and expand your consciousness as an entrepreneur. Your nursing license is your key to freedom. Join the Nurse Shark Academy at the nursesharkacademy.biz today. All right, so here's our first story. Celebrating nursing schools, because I think they need to be celebrated more. I really do. And congratulations, this is from nurse.org, to Southern University School of Nursing, named Best Nursing School by nurse.org. Congratulations, Southern University. You all should be very proud. It says for 39 years, the Southern University School of Nursing has been a beacon of opportunity, shaping compassionate and skilled nurses who serve the communities they represent. As Dr. Sandra C. Brown, Dean of the College of Nursing and Allied Health, often says, we provide health care to the underserved and overlooked. Serving the most vulnerable populations is a calling. This unwavering commitment to service has earned SUSON national recognition, recently being named Best Nursing School by nurse.org. So SUSON has consistently led in producing African-American nurses in Louisiana and ranks among the top nationally. This recognition is a testament to our faculty, students, and alumni who consistently uphold a tradition of excellence. So here's the history of the School of Nursing. Southern University School of Nursing was established in 1986. They offer 5 nursing degree programs, including a BSN, 100% online RN to BSN, the Masters of Science in Nursing with a specialty in family health, the Doctorate of Nursing Practice with a focus on leadership, and the Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing or PhD with a focus on research. Housed in the College of Nursing and Allied Health, as the School of Nursing also produces graduates in speech language pathology and audiology, therapeutic recreation and leisure studies, counseling, rehabilitation, and disability studies. The university also houses an Office of Nursing Research, a state-of-the-art simulation center and skills lab, a technology and learning resource center, a nurse-managed family health care clinic, women's infant clinic, and the JAG Mobile, a mobile health care clinic on wheels. Congratulations. So they have a lot going on. So I want you to hop on over to this story as well. And then they also had a viral video capturing the historic achievement, reached over 40 million viewers. showcasing their efforts to change the face of healthcare, celebrating men in nursing. And so that led to the men of SUSN being featured at Super Bowl breakfast, further amplifying the need for minority representation in nursing. So, congratulations, Southern University. Y'all doing your thing. You're more than just football and marching bands. I always like to say this. Read this article. This article is just great. And I love the idea of this Jagmobile, where they have fully equipped wheelchair accessible mobile health clinic to serve underserved communities. Come on. This is wonderful. And I just want to applaud them. They are definitely making a difference. So, congratulations to Southern University. Here's another story. I thought it was interesting. I wanted to share this because we need to share the good news too. Good news is important. University West of Jackson nabs $5 million in donation to expand nursing program. So congratulations to Spring Arbor, Michigan. A $5 million donation has given a major boost to Spring Arbor University's largest fundraising campaign in history. Donor Lois Mole or Mal, MOL, made the multi-million-dollar commitment to fund a large-scale modernized project for the private Free Methodist University's Whitman Gibbs Science Center, school officials said in a news release. The project aims to develop a state-of-the-art learning space for Spring Arbor's nursing program, as well as expanded lab space. So congratulations to them. You can read more on this article, but I'm just glad that nursing is finally getting some acknowledgement. And we talked last week about a big donation to nursing, and now we have this. And then, of course, we're going to end here because this is my alma mater. This is from the Echo in Taylor University, right there in Upland. And it says, students prepare for real life scenarios, update on TU School of Nursing. Taking blood pressure, learning how to interact with patients, and making beds with people in them are some of the things that are being taught to Taylor's School of Nursing's first semester. Any challenges that the School of Nursing has faced hasn't been with teaching. Karen Elise, or Elsia, I'm not sure. Karen, Dean of Nursing, said, I mean, we have all taught in other schools, so it's not a big hurdle of teaching for the very first time. But each time you teach something for the first time anywhere, just little things you have to kind of work through. It's going well. I think the students are excited. And I'm excited for it because when I was at Taylor, they didn't have the nursing program. And so had they had the nursing program, I probably would have got into the nursing program. Maybe because it took me going to Taylor and getting my degree in biology to realize that I wanted to be a nursing. But it would have been a lot easier if I could have just transferred majors. But I did transfer schools, and I would not trade my time with Anderson University for anything because it was very helpful as well. And, you know, but I just want to say I'm congratulations on Taylor on finally getting a nursing program because I think that was great. But here's what it says. There are 20 students in the clinical phase of the program. These students are taking nurses classes called Physical Assessment, Fundamentals in Pathophysiology and Nursing. Additionally, they have a microbiology class with the biology department. Nursing students get exposed to the foundational things that will prepare them to interact with patients in their labs, physical assessment, and fundamentals. Lab is a kind of hands-on piece, which has been going really well, said Hannah Haynes, nursing simulation lab coordinator. The skills students practice during the labs are skills they may not have had to use before. One of those labs is getting a patient into a wheelchair using crutches or a walker, even practice assisted patient fall. Some of these skills, she said, are not listed in their textbook, but it's easier to learn these things in a lab setting before a patient actually falls on a nurse in a clinical setting. And so, yeah, so I think this is great. So they have a junior, Ella Shiger, who's one of the 20 students in a clinical phase of the nursing program. She says the labs excite her further for future nursing classes. She's found the technology helpful, especially the dummies, and getting to see a procedure of how things are done in the human body. So I think that's great. But congratulations to them. And I just think it's wonderful that you have a new nursing program, and congratulations to Taylor University. Again, kudos to you all. Have a great program. I think that's wonderful. All right, so let me go ahead and get to some of our announcements that I have coming up. So, um, I'm excited because we got some wonderful things. And hey, y'all, I got my master trainer, and I'm going to make that announcement. Woo woo! There's a lot of great announcements. So, first of all, master trainer for TB instructor. So now I can train other nurses to be TB instructors so they can further train people and getting their basic validation. So that has finally been complete. Woo, check, check. So that's been done. Got my card today. And so I'm encouraged for that. And then the Nurse Shark Academy show, our other show, has been nominated for a nursing, not for nursing, but a podcast, a Woman in Podcast Award for in the career category. So I will be posting that on social media for you to go in. It's a People's Choice Award. So I'm asking everybody, please vote for us. That would be awesome if you would do that. And then our next thing that's coming up, let's see here. Next week, we have our, on the 12th, we have our Heart Saver nursing class. So you can sign up for our CPR class on March the 12th if you need a CPR training. And then on, let's see here. For March the 19th, we have our BLS renewal class from 9 to 12. So you can also sign up for that as well if you need to be a part of that training. And we also have our basic TB validation class. Now that class on March 19th is about full. So I think I have like maybe one or two seats available in that. I have to double check, but that class is about full. So if you don't sign up soon, there will be a waiting list. We do have a class every month, so you may have to wait till next month to get it. But I just want to encourage you, if you want to get into that class, please sign up soon because it is getting full. And then on the 26th, looks like we're pretty open. And so we'll be having a repeat. I'm going to set this up pretty soon. So to go live this week, we will have a repeat on our podcast guest training. We had a great training and a wonderful time of how to be a good podcast guest to get booked on podcasts as nurses. So if you're interested in that training, it's a free training. I'm not charging for this. I will set this up again and we'll do an encore training on this because I think this is so important. And we'll talk about how to get in front of media because that's a conversation I was having with the nurse before. We were talking about how nurses aren't getting their voices out and heard in media. And this is a way that you can do that by booking and being on podcasts, as well as contributing to articles and other things that you can do. So if you want to learn about being in media as a nurse and being seen as an expert and how to do those things, please sign up for that. That'll be at the nursesharkacademy.biz. Don't forget we have our training classes and our home health aid, CNA, and all those things. We're taking registrations for that now. We will be starting a cohort for the spring. So if you want to join that group, get on over to Baxter Professional Services HealthEducation.com. If you want to become a member of the Nurse Shark Academy and you want to learn how to build your own business, join us at the nursesharkacademy.biz. You can also pick up some of our great videos and content that we have available that's there, as well as some of the trainings that we've done in the past are all available on the website, the nursesharkacademy.biz. We'd love to have you. And then, of course, don't forget to share the link to this and share this content in our channel, the Nurse Shark Academy channel. And also like and subscribe to these videos and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live again. And then also look at our other show, the Nurse Shark Academy show, where we interview nurse business owners and leaders and invite them to tell their story. And if you are a nurse business owner or leader, or you know of one, please refer them to the show. We'd love to have them and just have a conversation, and we have a blast on that show. So I appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week. Bye-bye for now.